Hey everyone, and welcome back to Uncle Sam Fun English. I'm Theus.
And I'm Belle. Ready for another useful lesson?
Absolutely. Today we're tackling grammar mistakes.
So many people struggle with basic grammar rules.
We're going to fix your most common errors instantly.
Let's dive in.
So Belle, what's the grammar mistake you hear most often from English learners?
Oh, Theus, definitely the misuse of articles. A, N, and the. People often leave them out entirely, or use the wrong one. It's super common. For example, they might say, I went to store, instead of, I went to the store, or, I went to a store.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Is it just a matter of not knowing the rules, or is there something else going on? I sometimes feel like I'm still making mistakes with them.
It's a mix of things. Sometimes it's a direct transfer from their native language if it doesn't have articles, but often it's about not understanding the concept of specificity. They don't realize when something is general versus specific. It's hard to explain.
Give me some more examples of where people mess this up. I want to make sure I'm getting it.
Okay, another classic is using the when they should use a or an to introduce something new. Like saying, the cat is on the table, when it's the first time you're mentioning the cat. It should be, a cat is on the table. They're assuming the listener knows which cat.
Ah, I see. So it's about introducing something versus referencing something we already know about?
Exactly. And then there's the opposite problem, using a when they should use the because they've already established what they're talking about. For example, they might say, I bought a car. A car is red, when it should be, I bought a car. The car is red.
That makes perfect sense. So it's about clarity and making sure your listener knows what you're referring to. What is the impact of getting it wrong?
Well, it can definitely cause confusion. While native speakers can often understand the intended meaning from context, it can still sound awkward and make the speaker seem less fluent. It makes you sound less confident.
I understand. So how do we fix this? How do we become article masters?
The key is understanding when to use each article. A, and, an, are for non-specific, singular, countable nouns. The is for specific nouns, whether singular or plural, countable or uncountable. Okay, so the first big rule is to really focus on subject-verb agreement. It sounds basic, but it trips people up all the time.
Subject-verb agreement? Can you give me a specific example where people mess this up?
Absolutely. A common mistake is saying, they was, instead of, they were. Was, is singular, used with, I, he, she, and, it, while, were, is plural and used with, you, we, and, they.
Ah, I see. So, if I said, the group of students are going on a trip, is that wrong? Because, group, is singular.
Exactly. You're on the right track. It should be, the group of students is going on a trip, because the subject is, group, which is singular, even though it's referring to multiple students. The verb has to agree with, group, not, students.
Got it. So, the key is to identify the true subject of the sentence, not just the closest noun. That's a really important nuance.
Precisely. Now, let's look at some more examples. Instead of saying, my friends and I is going to the party, you should say, my friends and I are going to the party. Because it's we, plural.
Okay, makes sense. What about when there are phrases like, along with, or, as well as, in the sentence? Does that change things?
Great question. Phrases like, along with, as well as, together with, don't change the subject. So, the teacher, along with her students, is going to the museum, is correct. The subject is still, the teacher, which is singular. If you said, the teachers, along with their students are, that would be correct.
So the extra information doesn't make the subject plural, even if it mentions other people. I think I'm starting to get a better handle on this.
Think of it as extra info that just adds context, but the core of the sentence is still singular. Remember, subject-verb agreement is key for clear and understandable English. Another common mistake is confusing there is and there are.
Oh, yeah, I see that one a lot. Can you break that down for us?
Sure. There is used with singular nouns, and there are is used with plural nouns. For example, there is a cat on the roof, is correct because cat is singular. But there are cats on the roof is correct because cats is plural.
Okay, that seems pretty straightforward. So, if I said, there is many reasons why I like chocolate, that would be wrong, right?
Absolutely. It should be, there are many reasons why I like chocolate, because reasons is plural. People often get tripped up when the subject comes after the verb, which is what happens with there is, are.
That makes sense. It's easy to just say what sounds right, but it's important to actually think about the grammar. What about collective nouns, like team or family?
Collective nouns can be tricky. Generally, if the group is acting as a single unit, you use a singular verb. If the members are acting individually, you use a plural verb. For example, the team is playing well tonight, as a unit. But, the team are arguing about their salaries, as individuals.
Wow, that's subtle. So it depends on the context of the sentence.
Exactly. That's why English grammar can be so nuanced. But with practice, you can definitely master it.
So Belle, what about those tricky situations where you're not sure if you need to use who or whom? It always trips me up.
That's a great question, Theus. Who and whom can definitely be confusing, but there's a simple trick. Think of who as he or she, and whom as him or her.
Okay, that sounds like a good starting point. So, if I were to say, who did you see at the store? Is that correct? Because it feels like it should be whom.
Actually, who did you see at the store is correct. If you rephrase the sentence, you would say, you saw him, her at the store. Since you'd use him or her, the correct word is whom. Therefore, the correct sentence is, whom did you see at the store?
Ah, I see. So it's all about figuring out what the pronoun would be if you answered the question. What if I said, who is going to the party?
That's a great example. In that case, you would say, he, she is going to the party. Since you'd use he or she, who is correct. Who is going to the party is the right way to say it.
What about sentences with prepositions? Does that change things? Like, to who should I give this?
Excellent question. In most formal writing, you would say, to whom should I give this? The preposition, to, governs whom. Think of it this way, I should give this to him, her. Again, the, him, her, connection points you to, whom.
So, prepositions usually take, whom, but not always. Are there exceptions to that rule?
Yes, there are a few exceptions, especially in modern, informal English. You might hear, who are you talking to, instead of, to whom are you talking? While, to whom, is technically more correct, who is becoming increasingly accepted in casual conversation. However, in formal writing, stick with, whom, after a preposition.
That's helpful to know. So, if I'm writing an important email to my boss, I should definitely use, whom, after a preposition, right?
Absolutely. In professional or academic writing, using whom correctly will show attention to detail and a strong command of grammar. However, in a text message to a friend, who is perfectly fine.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. So, let me try another example. Who do you think will win the election? Is that right?
That's a tricky one. You might be tempted to use whom, but in this case, who is correct. The sentence structure is a bit more complex. The question is, who will win the election? The phrase, do you think, is an interjection.
That makes sense. So, it's not always about the immediate word after the who or whom, but about the underlying grammatical structure.
Exactly. It's about understanding the role the pronoun plays in the clause itself. Who functions as the subject of will win, even though the phrase, do you think, is in the middle.
What about when you have a list of people? Does that change the rule for who and whom?
Not really. The same principles still apply. For example, the award was given to whom? The award was given to her. Or, who won the award? She won the award. The list itself doesn't affect the who versus whom decision.
I think I understand the general concept now. It's all about slowing down, thinking about the sentence structure, and determining whether he, she, or him, her would be the appropriate pronoun.
Precisely. With a little practice, you'll be able to navigate the who and whom dilemma with confidence. Remember, when in doubt, try rephrasing the sentence to see which pronoun fits best. Okay, so let's talk about when to use who versus whom. This often trips people up, especially in more formal writing.
Right. I think I know the rule, but I always second-guess myself. Is it something about subjects and objects?
Exactly. Who is used when it's the subject of the verb, performing the action, whereas whom is the object of the verb or preposition, receiving the action. For example, who went to the store versus to whom did you give the book?
That makes sense when you say it like that, but in a real sentence, my brain just freezes.
I understand. A helpful tip is to replace who or whom with he, she, or him, her. If he or she sounds right, use who. If him or her sounds right, use whom.
Okay, I'll try that. So, who did you see at the party? I'd say, I saw him, so it should be, whom did you see at the party?
Precisely. You got it. Now, it can get even trickier with prepositional phrases. For whom is this gift? Because you wouldn't say, for he is this gift.
Right, the him, her trick works well there. But what about when the who or whom is buried in the middle of a longer sentence?
Good question. The same principle applies. You need to isolate the clause where the who or whom is acting and apply the test. For example, the man who I thought was the manager was actually the janitor.
Okay, in that case, who I thought was the manager, I'm thinking, he was the manager, so, who is correct.
You're on a roll. Now consider this. The person to whom the letter was addressed has moved. It's more formal, but grammatically correct, and, to him the letter was addressed, helps justify the whom.
This is really helpful. I think I'm finally starting to get a handle on this. And if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Uncle Sam Fun English.
Absolutely. And speaking of subscriptions, think about the sentence, the candidate whom everyone believed would win, lost the election. Here, everyone believed him, is the key, leading to whom.
Okay, so it's not just about the words immediately next to who or whom, but the entire clause they're functioning within.
Exactly. Think of it as a mini-sentence within the larger sentence. Understanding the role within that mini-sentence will guide you. Also, remember that in informal speech, people often use who, even when whom is grammatically correct.
So, technically incorrect, but commonly accepted? That's good to know.
Yes, especially in casual conversation. But in formal writing, like a job application or an academic paper, it's best to stick to the correct usage. Now, let's look at the difference between that and which.
Oh, this one gets me too. I always mix them up. What's the rule of thumb?
That introduces restrictive clauses, which are essential to the meaning of the sentence. Which introduces non-restrictive clauses, which add extra information but aren't essential.
Essential versus non-essential. Okay, I need an example.
Sure. The car that I bought yesterday is red. The phrase, that I bought yesterday, is essential because it identifies which car we're talking about. Without it, the sentence is too vague.
Got it. So, if I said, the car, which is parked in the driveway, is red, the, which is parked in the driveway, part is extra information, right?
Precisely. We already know which car we're talking about. The phrase just adds a detail. Notice the commas before which, indicating the non-restrictive clause. These commas are crucial. Let's practice. I'm going to give you a sentence, and you tell me if it's correct or if it has a common grammar mistake. Ready?
Absolutely. Belle, hit me with your best shot. I'm ready to put my grammar skills to the test.
Okay, here's the sentence. Me and John went to the store yesterday. What do you think? Is it correct, or is there a problem?
It sounds okay, but I have a feeling it's not quite right. Is it something to do with the order of me and John?
You're on the right track. The problem is the me. Remember, when you're part of the subject of the sentence, you should use I instead of me.
Ah, I see. So, it should be, John and I went to the store yesterday. Is that correct then? I always mix those up.
Perfect. Exactly. I is used when you're doing the action, and me is used when the action is being done to you. It's a common mistake.
Okay, that makes sense. So, John went to the store with me, would be correct, since the action is being done to me. Got it.
Precisely. Now, let's try another one. How about this? Who did you give the book to? Correct or incorrect?
That sounds okay to me. Who did you give the book to? Seems like a perfectly normal question to ask someone.
It's very common, but technically, it's considered a bit informal. The more formal, and therefore, grammatically correct, version is, to whom did you give the book?
To whom? That sounds very old-fashioned. Is that something people still say, or is it just for formal writing?
You're right, it's more formal and less common in everyday speech. But understanding the rule can improve your writing and comprehension. Think, to him, her, them. You wouldn't say, to he, would you?
No, definitely not. So, since you'd say, to him, you use, whom. That's a helpful trick to remember it.
Exactly. Now, what about this one? There are less people here than I expected. Is less used correctly in this sentence?
I use less and fewer all the time, but I always get them mixed up. I think it should be fewer here.
You got it. Fewer is used for countable nouns, things you can count individually, like people. Less is for uncountable nouns, like water or time.
Okay. So fewer people, fewer cars, fewer books, and less water, less time, less money, even though you can count dollars?
Yes, exactly. Money is tricky because you can count the individual units, but we often treat it as a general mass. That's why, less money sounds more natural.
This is so helpful. Let's try one more. How about, I could care less about grammar. Correct or incorrect?
This is a classic. What do you think? Does that sentence really convey what the speaker intends?
Well, if someone could care less, it means they care at least a little bit, right? So it's not really expressing indifference.
You've nailed it. The correct expression is, I couldn't care less. That means you care zero, nothing, not at all.
Okay, so it's a matter of negating the statement to express the intended meaning. That makes a big difference.
Exactly. A tiny word changes the entire message. Now, here's a challenge. Rewrite this sentence to make it correct, but still sound natural.
Let me think. Instead of, I could care less about grammar, I could say, I don't care about grammar at all.
Excellent. That's a perfectly clear and natural way to express the same idea, without making a grammar mistake.
Okay, I think I'm getting a better handle on these common mistakes. What if we made it a bit more complex?
All right, let's say someone writes, between you and I, grammar is difficult. What's the problem?
Ooh, that sounds like another, me, versus, I, trap. I bet it should be, between you and me, grammar is difficult.
You're absolutely right. Prepositions like, between, always take the objective case. Me, him, her, s, them.
So, it's not about who's doing the action, but about what the preposition is connected to. Interesting.
Exactly. Now everyone listening, try to apply these rules in your own speaking and writing. Pay attention to how native speakers use these phrases.
Yes, try to catch these errors in movies, TV shows, and even conversations. The more you notice them, the easier it will be to avoid them yourself. So, remember, focusing on subject-verb agreement is key to sounding more fluent and confident in English.
A simple trick is to always double-check if your verb matches the subject in number, singular or plural.
Don't be afraid to slow down and think about your sentence structure. Practice makes perfect.
Remember to subscribe to Uncle Sam Fun English for more lessons like this.
Thanks for listening. Keep practicing.
See you next time. Bye everyone.